Hey guys, I'm Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review Deadpool 2. So, if you remember from whenever I did my Deadpool review for the first movie, I was actually kind of disappointed in that movie. Probably one of the very few people who were disappointed in Deadpool. So, when I learned that they were obviously making the Deadpool 2, I was going in with pretty low expectations. And suffice to say, I kind of got where I thought it was going to be, where it's slightly better than the first movie, I think, but it's still not that great. Alright, so yes, we begin this movie with Deadpool. Oh, by the way, I'll just say this is going to be a spoiler review of everything that happens in the movie, just in case, since I believe this came out today, so yes. Spoiler review. Indeed. Anyways, it starts off with, I'll just call him DP, Deadpool, short for Deadpool, obviously, DP. Starts off with the Wolverine action figure, smashing things like he's moping about something, although what that something is a back thing that we're gonna get to, because we need narration to lead us in with DP doing his shtick. And it turns out that this movie starts off 6 weeks later, so it goes back the 6 weeks. And we see him taking a bunch of crime lord guys out in various areas, from just a general area to a funeral to a dance club to this other guy that managed to escape, more guys, yada yada yada. And it cuts to him jumping into the taxi guy's taxi. I don't know his name. I don't know if they ever said his name in this movie. If they did, in my notes, I called him the taxi guy. That's all I know him as, unfortunately, because of that. So, the taxi guy says how he wants to become a killer, and then DP goes to make a Batman vs. Superman reference. And returns home to kiss his girl, what's her face? I don't know. I didn't write her name in the notes either. I just referred to her as Deadpool's gal, G-A-L. But she wants a baby. So, DP makes some Star Wars reference, like Spider-Man does, so there's that. And a few guys invade his home. How they got to his home, how they figured out where he lived, I don't know. As DP mentions later, probably just terrible writing. Anyways, his girl is shot dead, and he tries to chase the killer, and they both get run over. So then it cuts to DP talking to TJ Miller. I just called him in my notes Terrible Miller, because I never found that guy a good actor to begin with, even in the first movie. So they're talking up stuff about what happened. And then it moves on to him talking to the blind lady. I don't remember her name either. So then he tries to blow himself up. It goes into this world where he's in some sort of water space block, and then he sees his girl, but he's unable to touch her. She's able to give him some sort of hint into what to do next. Then it shows Big C, or Colossus, the big hero of the first movie, the only good thing to come out of the first movie. Unfortunately, I do think his lines in this movie are actually worse in here. I think his innocence is what made him good, and I'll just say it now. He does use the F-bomb, and I honestly do think it takes away from his character. I really do. So I'm so ashamed of what they did to Colossus here. I think they ruined his character. DP did that, so fuck that shit. Anyways, DP makes a MLP reference to Super Teenage Nova girl. I forget her name, and her girlfriend? When did that happen? I don't know. Just she's in the movie. She has pink hair, which is where the Pinkie Pie reference comes in. And I don't even remember her name either, because I don't remember them saying it even once. And if they did, I did not catch it, so I just called her Super Teen's girlfriend, or the MLP character. Anyway, while they're talking, we see a quick cameo from Beast closing the door with the other X-Men hiding from DP. While DP hugs Big C, or Colossus. Anyways, we see Cable wake up. Cable's supposed to be the straight man in the movie. He wakes up in this rubble in the future. He presses a watch to go back in time. Meanwhile, then we cut to this boy with the heat hands, like he can make fire. So DP arrives with the few X-Men, that being Colossus and Super Teen and the other girl, whatever her name is. And we meet Fire Feast, or just Russell as his normal name is. I believe his name is Fire Feast. I just kept writing FF after a while just to make it short. Anyways, he knocks out Big C and the teen girl with his fire blast, and DP also gets a pretty good knock in and makes another superhero landing joke again, as if we needed repetitive jokes, because we all know repetitive jokes never land twice, which they try to make it land twice, and they don't. They just do the exact same thing they did in the first movie. Anyway, he knocks the boy out with the blunt end of his sword, and he shoots one of the guys who FF said was a pedophile or touched him and did the creepy stuff, and there was another guy he was planning on killing but didn't get to. So they get cuffed. DP and FF get these little collar things that apparently can remove powers somehow. The technology is never explained, but it's interesting that he could have gotten shot right then and there and the movie could have just been over, you know, just saying. Anyway, Cable arrives at the prison and taking some guys out. Meanwhile, FF looks for a way out. And Cable's watching the news as he's making his way in. So one of the prisoners is punching out FF and knocking Deadpool around, or DP. And all that's going on. So Cable breaks down a wall in the prison and starts to beat on some guards, and then he eventually finds Cable eventually finds DP, and he's actually trying to attack FF, or Russell. So DP tackles down Cable, which knocks him on the floor, as well as DP himself, and the collar is broken, which when he fell, he would have probably normally just died there, but since the collar was off, he was able to regenerate his health. When Cable asks who he is, he refers to himself as Batman, making a Batman reference. Thus, Cable takes his gun back and they fight some more. DP talks about how he loves DC, so, you know, there's that. And meanwhile, they start talking about dubstep and whether or not that's even in the future, and he gets knocked down. So, he talks to him about the kid, and now, that being DP, and DP's like, oh, I hate the kid, and then he's cliche, he's right there, obviously, to hit obvious rock bottom, while he himself mentions how movies always do this rock bottom part right at this point of a normal, typical movie, and pointing it out doesn't make it any better or worse, it just points it out. So there's that. So, DP talks to Vanessa. I finally remembered her name, his girlfriend. I don't know why I wrote Ness, but whatever. Anyway, DB goes back to talking to Terrible Miller for whatever they talk about. They just talk about shooting shit and whatnot. Uh, then we cut back to FF Russell as he walks away as this fight breaks out. So Miller decides that they want to put together this team. So they bring in this acid dude, this vanisher dude, Domino, some random guy, which makes the taxi guy angry because he didn't apparently have powers either. And I don't know. Ben is the other guy who they bring in for this X-Force. So Cable watches on as FF is placed back inside the prison. Meanwhile, Cable catches Terrible Miller, while DP makes a plan with his new team of X-Force. They halo jump down, and the remainder of the team dies right here, with the exception of Domino, whose luck gets her landed in the right spot, where she just gets to live. She managed to also land conveniently next to Cable, and they start to go at it in this little various truck-based place. So Domino fights Cable a bit, and so on and so forth. And meanwhile, DP drives up. Then he gets to the vehicle, and starts to fight Cable as well. And Domino, meanwhile, takes them through a building to try to slow them down. So, FF Russell gets out on his own of this little prison, and he talks to this big guy who's a complete mystery for the time being. The truck falls over. But Domino once again gets lucky based off of her power and lands on a big, soft panda plush thing. So, FF breaks out, apparently in this movie, is Juggernaut. And they are able to split from the location. So DP talks to the blind lady. I don't know what her name is again. And Terrible Miller, and Taxi Guy also arrive at her house. Oh, I don't know how they know where she lives, ? Terrible writing. Bad Deadpool 2. Shame. Anyways, Cable is also there. He also arrives. He also just knows the location. But he wants to team up to stop the Juggernaut. And he also explains how FF Russell in the future will apparently become a mass murderer if he's left to kill this one guy, the remaining guy that was left to his devices, some business creeper that was on him. So anyway, there's that. So Cable is willing to give DP 30 seconds to save FF Russell before he does that. So they arrive at this facility. I believe it's a hospital. I wrote it as a school for some reason, but DP sets up the music as Colossus is also there with him, as well as Teenage Fire, whatever, Nova, and her girl, and Domino, as well as Cable. So they go to that Jug and FF Russell go to the hospital, I believe it is, as I mentioned, and yeah, they're doing that. So, after DP cues up that music, he charges in with Domino and Cable, and Cable blasts Juggernaut away, and they start to fight. Colossus arrives to pick up DP, and they have their bromance moment, is the only way I can explain it, and then starts to fight the Juggernaut. And it's a pretty interesting fight. Two big guys going at it, sure, why not? So Cable and DP go to save FF Russell in the meantime, while Domino goes inside the facility to rescue the remaining kids that are there. So she gets them out. Deadpool and Cable go to FF Russell, and Teen Nova and her girl Pink. I'll just call her Pink from the remainder of the movie, I guess, even though her role is so insignificant and pointless. She does like one thing, is to like tie someone up temporarily, which leads to Big Colossus sparking up Juggernaut's ass, literally. So DP talks to FF Russell. So FF Russell is chasing after his potential kill. Meanwhile, Cable charges in with DP2. So Cable sets himself up to shoot FF Russell, but Cable puts on a color that happens to be there? Question mark. And also, it's the color that removes the powers, but I don't know how that ended up all the way over there, if that came from the prison. Again, never explained. It's like 3 things that in this movie that are never explained, by the way. Just keeping count of this terrible writing that Deadpool 2 loves to mention that it's terrible at, so there you go. Anyways, the bear that Cable has been holding on to, because he had a backstory where he had a bear based off his daughter, but it was ruined because the kid eventually went nuts, as I mentioned earlier, killed Cable's family. Cable made it personal, went back in time to do all this killing, and so on and so forth. So DP dies, but wakes up and does his longer goodbye, and he goes on and on and on about nonsense that just isn't funny, then dies, because we all know that can't possibly happen in the DP movie. But he does meet with his Vanessa one last time, and he's able to be in his normal form in this waterscape, whatever you want to call it. She says that they'll need DP. So, meanwhile, Cable decides to go back in time, which he explains earlier in the movie that he can only do once. So he does that to put a lead piece in front of his own shot to save DP. So they all see the remaining team there. They see the pervy business guy, whatever his deal is, besides a tortured perv guy, and FF Russell still wants to kill him, but refuses. But then DP backs him down, and then the taxi guy comes in and runs him over. Thus, they all turn around to walk away as DP puts it, this new family is walking out together. And just when you think it's over, of course, there's an after-credit sequence where DP apparently rejects the entire second movie by going back in time, saving Vanessa, then saving, I believe it was Peter, I believe that was his name, the one that didn't have powers, then goes to kill himself in the X-Men movie where he was the terrible Deadpool, and then goes to kill Ryan Reynolds, his real self, before he can accept the Green Lantern movie, and that was Deadpool 2. Oh boy. So the first movie, as I mentioned, disappointed me. And this movie, as I said, is slightly better because it doesn't take so much time to do some unnecessary nonsense. Though a lot of the references are very much of the same kin to the very first movie. Um, so I don't think this movie gets lost as much, but I do think a lot of stuff is very convenient outside of Domino, which for her, I'll let that slide because it's based off of her power, but all the other shit is nonsense, and it's poor convenient timing, poor convenient writing, and I don't know, like, the action's as good as it was in the first movie, that's what I can give it, there's that, ooh. But the best character just got ruined in this movie. I'm sorry. Colossus was the best character in Deadpool, and I feel like they ruined his character here. I felt like they gave him a lot less to do because there was a lot more characters to deal with. There was the X-Force, which was an unnecessary waste of time since most of them died, with the exception of Domino. And then I guess later on in the after credit sequence it would be Peter, which is completely pointless. But yeah, there's just so much unnecessary stuff that just happens either out of convenience or just, it just sort of happens. So I can say it's, again, slightly better than Deadpool 1, but not by much. I believe, if I remember correctly, I gave Deadpool 1 a 3 out of 10. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 10. Slightly better, but not by much. And I already know. I already know that I'm in the minority of people who don't like Deadpool 2. And I'm not just saying that because I didn't like Deadpool 1. I came up with solid reasoning, and I'm sure that every other reviewer, or the majority of reviewers, are going to eat this movie up. They're already eating it up. I've seen the thumbnails. I haven't seen any of the reviews, so I came to this conclusion by myself. I'm really proud of that, by the way. But yeah, I believe everyone was duped in for Deadpool 1. I honestly do believe that, and I believe they're just as duped in Deadpool 2. I believe everyone's sucking Marvel's dick right now for when it's a Deadpool movie, and I think that's unfair. I think it's unfair to judge a movie based off of the character and not the actual movie itself. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be the real reviewer. What in a shallow pool of endless reviewers that again will suck Marvel's dick when it's Deadpool. I don't buy that. I think that's shit. I want to be honest with you guys. I came here to be honest. I think Deadpool is slightly better than Deadpool 2, is slightly better than Deadpool 1, but again, not by much. There's so many characters that are unnecessary. Teen's girlfriend, even her role is so much more. In fact, she doesn't even do anything. Super Teen Nova chick, whatever her name is, she doesn't do anything in the movie. They could have taken both of them out of the movie and lost nothing. Except for the part maybe where they shock Juggernaut's ass. I forgot if Teen Nova, Teen whatever, did anything in that part, but regardless, X-Force, most of them dead. Kind of pointless having them in the movie. Could have taken that part out and just had Deadpool eventually join in with the new X-Force, I guess. Again, and that could have just been the set X-Force instead of having all this set up for all of them to die. Again, kind of pointless. So, yeah, I'm here to be real with you. 4 out of 10. I know this movie is going to make a bunch of money. I know they're going to make a Deadpool 3. And I'm probably going to also give it a low score if they continue to make shitty movies. I'm sorry, but Deadpool 2 is a shitty movie for me, so there you go. Anyways, I'm sure no one enjoyed this review because it's Deadpool, and I took a shit on Deadpool 2, so there you go. No one's gonna enjoy it, but if you did somehow, but you can always like, comment, and subscribe, or you can downvote and say that I suck. Either way, you can also feel free to look in the link in the description to join my Patreon or, you know, donate a little. And until next time, everyone, just remember, Deadpool 2's awful. Bye bye!